Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on April 12th, 2021 at approximately 7:45 a.m. PST. Now, I've always said these are recorded live, meaning I don't edit them. Well, to this effect, the first time I did the video today, I did the whole thing. And when I went back to just double check the date, I had messed the date up at the beginning, so I've deleted the whole thing, and here we go again. I don't go back and edit, I just rewrote the whole thing. The reality of it is, number one, the way I figure it, if I make a mistake, I will let people know. I'm not perfect. I've managed to get a few things organized. Okay, and like I said, if you're striving to do something, talk to somebody that has done it successfully. Now, if you look at the past videos that I've done, okay, especially on the journey, you'll find that I have had all kinds of setbacks, okay, hence why I said I'm not perfect. But I have managed, through trial and error, through talking to other people, to find different little twists, different little shortcuts, if you will, easier ways of doing things to get where I am. Net result, coming from being a master pack rat, I used to have like the shelves behind me that have a few boxes. The stacks of boxes used to be the same height as those shelves. Okay, but it didn't take me a day to get there. Okay, it took my entire life, same as it has taken you your entire life to get to the state you're in. Okay, you've laid out paths. The energy that you put into having your life the way it is what's led you to where you are. Now, it will take time to redirect it, but energy is quite consistent. It moves in one direction. Okay, it moves forward. Okay, one of the things that I've made a note for myself. I mentioned a few days ago, or maybe a week back, that I was going to get a pictographical display of how time travel works. Now, there's all kinds of theories of it, but the reality that I've come to understand, as much as you can move forward in time, you can jump forward in time. Jumping backwards doesn't work. So if you jump forward, you can't come back anyway. Now, as the saying goes, you cannot unsee that which you've seen. You can't unsay that which you said. You cannot undo that which you've done, and you cannot unknow that which you know. You can, however, forget what you did with stuff, okay, as you misplace it. When somebody, for instance, when somebody suffers brain damage, what happens is not so much the memories go away, but the data tree, the line that you actually used to use to access it goes away. It's kind of like caving in the front entrance to a mine. You cave the mine entrances, you can't get to all the stuff inside. But there are other ways you can get to it. You can dig another hole, for instance. Dig another entrance. And then access it once you get in there. Now, all energy, whether you're talking about finance, whether you're talking spirituality, whether you're talking physicality, doesn't matter. It all works the same way. It got to a certain point. Sometimes there's an accident that causes complications, and you still have to rewire. Where it comes to health, the human body in every single cell has, and I don't honestly know if the doctors actually know this. Okay, I know there are researchers that are working on it, but I don't know if they've figured it out yet. But every cell has a blueprint for a perfectly healthy body. Now, this simply put means that when damage is done, you can actually rewire your body. You can train the other cells around it, around damaged ones, in order to work properly. It does take time. It absolutely takes belief in it, and it takes focus. Now, whenever you're aiming at healing, okay, number one, doctors are trained, and thank heavens they are. Think what you will of doctors. I got my own opinions, but I'll tell you, when I broke my arm several years ago, and I needed it bolted back in place so it could heal properly, I'd much rather have a doctor that was trained at doing the operation than having a carpenter work on my arm. Okay. This said, do I trust everything they say? No. Double check your information. When a doctor gives you a list of medication, absolutely take that medication, talk to the doctor, find out what it actually does, find out what he or she knows about the side effects that it may have with other things in your life. Okay. And back the information up by talking to your local pharmacist. Ask them the same series of questions. Take the information and work with what you've got. But understand, medication itself is very much it's a crutch. It's a way of helping your body cope with things until you can figure out how to get your body to cope with it itself. Okay, and in my personal opinion, for what that's worth, if you're having medical issues, do not go on Google and search it up. Okay, absolute disaster of an idea, because there are so many variables. You're going to be going through miles of paperwork, and you've got to realize that if you don't understand the ins and outs of it, which is what the doctors are trained for, you're going to likely either diagnose yourself with something that you don't have anything close to. It's got one symptom similar, and that's where it ends. Okay. Now, I'm almost 58 years old, and I turned around the other day, just a couple of days ago, went for my own physical, and told the doctor, look, I'm willing to take the medication that you prescribe within reason, right, in order to get my body working again. But I am going to find a way to eliminate the requirement for it. But until that time, I'll use the medication as a crutch. And rest assured, I am not impressed with the whole idea of going to see a doctor. But you do what you have to. Because I don't see the point in up and dying without provocation. Now, I have noticed something very immediately, confirming, if you will. Just about a week ago, I think, and if I go back over the videos, I could probably find out. But I rearranged my office, where I'm now sitting where I am, and I deliberately put my coffee cup on the left side where I have to use my left arm because it hasn't worked properly. It hasn't had the reaction time or the coordination since I had my stroke. Since I put my coffee over there, because of the fact I drink it on a regular basis, my arm has been, the coordination of it has been improving at a marked level. For me, that's extremely important. This is also one of the reasons why I put my left over on the left. My hand does not work as well as I'd like, but it will get there. But it's going to take time. It's going to take persistence on my part. And I'm the only one on the planet that can make it work. Same as if you're having a hold-up, regardless of where you are, regardless of the state your life is in. If you're having trouble with your education, teachers only teach what they've been taught. Okay, on the whole, there are some that are remarkable. I had some phenomenal teachers in the past. But the reality is, if what you're being taught isn't clicking, understand two major factors. If you cannot read in the major language in the country in which you're living, it may do you the world of good to go and find out how. Okay. If you cannot do simple math, your plus, your minus, your simple multiplications, where it comes to multiplication, I recommend personally working to know your 12 times tables by heart. Okay. There's a lot of reasons for that, but just take it from that. That's 12 times 1 through 12 times 12. And all the little ones down below. Okay. If you get those down by heart, you can function in life reasonably well. Now, you're going to need your higher maths, you're going to need your higher sciences if you're becoming a doctor, an engineer, something to that effect. But remember, none of these educational points, none of them make you more valuable than the next person. Okay, as people go, the person on the street, the blade of grass, the lump of coal, the drift of air, the people living in the high rises, the multimillionaires, nobody is more valuable than the next. Okay, especially when you look at it from a spiritual standpoint. Okay, now, I'm not perfect by any functional stretch. I'm simply me. Okay, the only thing I have ever guaranteed is that I won't lie to people to make them feel better unless I'm directly asked to do so. Now, being a published author in 5 different genres, I know how to put things together. Okay, not great at the speaking thing, but I do that too. Okay, now, give us a thumbs up to the video. Hopefully you like it. Subscribe to our channel so you can get to the rest of the videos that are available. Okay, and if you look at the bottom of the videos, you'll find a list of different publications I've already got in print that can be ordered only directly through me at this time. Okay, you'll also find a list of contact points at the bottom where you can get a hold of me. If you've got questions, if you've got concerns, drop me a line. I will do my best to answer them. I'm not perfect by any stretch. What ends up happening is I quite often get too many things on the go, which may be exemplified by one little detail. I'm currently in the middle of writing 30 different books in 5 different genres all at the same time. However, that works for me. Okay, that's not to say anybody else should ever try and match that pace. You know, lately I've been oversleeping and I know why. Now I just have to correct it. And once I get this video up and running, I'm going to correct part of it and set the thing in motion. Where it comes to the energy of things, it took you a certain amount of time to get to where you are. However long your life is, that's how long it's taken you to get to where you are. So it's going to take some time to alter that direction. Okay, sometimes the path of energy gets interrupted in a rather cataclysmic way, very much like water. Water, you don't stop from moving. It continues to move forward no matter how hard you freeze it. Take a look at the Ice Age, kind of a prime example. But you can redirect where energy goes, and that's where feng shui comes into play. Now, most of the books you read about where feng shui is concerned are based on Eastern philosophy. And they're great books, and they work like a charm if you're in the East. Okay, where they say, get whatever set up on the north corner. In Western society, way too individualistic, but energy still works the same way. So, wherever you work on your finances, make that your center point where your finances are, because no matter what mood you're in, no matter what life you're living, finances, or barter, if you will, is critical. Okay, that is how the world works. Now, people have told me that money is the root of all evil. It isn't. Fear is the root. Okay, money is just another way to barter. And frankly, in my opinion, moving a $10 bill, or for that matter a nickel, is a heck of a sight easier than moving a chicken or a cow. Okay, so money itself is just barter, but fear, or the fear of lack of something, the fear of losing something, the fear of not being understood, not being respected, all of these things all compile to create the problem. The biggest one of all is fear of self, which is why the 4 words that I strongly recommend everybody put on their fridge: I am worth it. Okay, those are the 4 most powerful words that I have personally come across this lifetime where it comes to helping one's self-esteem. Why put it on the fridge? Because it's the one appliance in the house that almost everybody will look at. Okay, you walk into a kitchen, anybody looks at the fridge, they'll read it, even if it's only the emblem. It seems that people read it, but that's where everybody puts their pictures from the kids, etc. Same idea. Put that up somewhere where you can see it regularly. In the event that you're not able to see, okay, use an auditory note. However you make your notes for yourself, that is repeatedly there all the time for you, on a repeating basis. Because the more often you hear it, the stronger that sensation will get in you. Parents know this part. If you tell a child often enough they're an idiot or they're stupid, they will develop that definitive outlook on themselves. They will become idiotic, or stupid. Okay. I used to have a problem myself where I could not remember people's names for love nor money. Okay. I just couldn't. Because, and then again, I kept telling myself, I have a garbage memory for names. Therefore, I'm going to forget your name. Well, absolutely what ended up happening is somebody would tell me their name and it'd go in one ear and out the other, and before the conversation was finished, or before the echo died, I'd forget their name. When I started telling myself, my memory's getting stronger on where it comes to names, all of a sudden I'm able to recall people's names. I don't even have to be around them anymore. I can just bring that image into my head, and I can go, this person belongs to this name, and carry on. But it takes time. Okay, I actually went and talked to somebody that's got an extremely high rate of reading, and asked them point blank, did they have any clues, or did they have any ideas to how to make it a little bit more, if you will, not palatable, but a little bit easier to comprehend, how to pick my reading speed up. And his comment was real simple. He says the tried and true method that he says I found is the more I read, the faster I got. Okay, it's a question of repetitive action. The more if you're aiming at learning to read faster, read more. If you're aiming at learning to write better, practice more, write more. It's muscle memory. Reading is muscle memory, it's the brain. Writing is muscle memory, it's your hand. Okay. They tell you once you've learned to ride a bike, you never forget. You may get rusty, but you won't forget. Okay. Now, I mean, just the speed I managed to pick that coffee cup up. Right, I just reached over and grabbed it like that. Just not 2 weeks ago, trying to pick up my coffee cup, I'd be doing something like this. Right, that would be how fast it went, because I couldn't gauge it. Since I moved my coffee cup over there, my left arm is starting to work a little better, and it's going to end up being the same thing with my writing with my left hand. It's simply going to be an issue of working with it, but it's going to take concerted effort. Okay. Take a look at where your life is and ask yourself one thing. Am I content with where my life is? Am I happy with my own outlook? Am I happy with my relationships and my participation in them? If the answer is yes, then great, carry on. I'd lay odds that the answer is no, that there is something about your life you're not content with. Well, the funny part about it is when you're told you've got to have a plan, you got to know where you're going so you can be successful. The ironic part is you actually don't. You have to know where you are. You have to know what you're not content with. Because when you eliminate everything you're not content with, all you're left with is what you're content with. Okay. And if everybody focuses on what they're content with, providing you're following karmic law, be true to yourself, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay, if you follow those 3 laws, then what will happen is your whole community around you will alter, and you'll have a much better world to live in. And needless to say, if your little section of the city or of the town it becomes better and it radiates outward because people are doing the same thing, what we have is a world that all of a sudden, several years down the road, in all likelihood, we're talking like 7.5 billion people here. But that's my target, is that 7.5 billion people. And yes, I realize that not everybody has the internet. Not everybody has electricity. But everybody does have contact with other people. Pretty much. Okay. Now here's the neat part. Okay, like we take a look at modern society, at what people call first world countries, and let's understand something very important. This world we're living on is the first world. Okay, and everybody on it is equal. So if you get this message, and you go out and you talk to somebody out in the bush, okay, and you follow this message, and you treat them in that way, in that fashion, they will get the same idea, and they'll take it back to their village. Net result, the village without electricity, the village without power, gets the message. Okay, now it really is thanks to you guys that I actually started doing this at all. Okay, I got asked by a staggering number of people to get some of my insights, some of my understandings of life onto video and let people see it. Well, thanks to you, as of March 6th of 2021, I started doing the series, The Journey. Now, I'd started a number of other videos in the past, and I made a rough run at it, and then stopped for whatever reason. Well, this one I'm not planning on stopping. Okay, my goal is to get to everybody, regardless of their religious background, their spiritual background, their financial background, where they think they sit in society. There is not a single person on the planet that is more valuable than the next one to them. Okay, now yes, monetarily speaking, some people have more money. That's the way it's going to be. Okay, society, nature has a real simple pyramid structure. Okay, there's always something at the top. But the problem is that we have no idea what the top is. Okay, now some of you will say, well, God's the top. And God is the top as far, and by whatever name, is the top of the totem pole as far as we can see. However, I have always been a firm believer that much as he is the top as far as we can fathom, there's more beyond him. Okay, the top authority in a child's life is their parent. Okay, now ultimately, in all fairness, that's a little misguided, but most children see their parent as the top authority. If I want to do something, I gotta talk to them. But the parent has to talk to whoever is setting up the laws in their area. Okay, if you live in what I call a walled city, or a retirement complex type thing, in order to do certain things, you have to talk to the council. You've got to talk to the leaders of that community. The leaders of that community have to talk to the leaders of the province or the state that you're in, or for that matter, the country. And the leaders of the country have to interact with other leaders of other countries in order to come to a way of working things through. Which brings us back to this issue of politicians. Every single person on the planet is a politician. Okay, every single person on the planet is an elite individual. They are a unique individual. And the only way other people get more power is if you give it to them. Okay, so think about that and understand that yes, society is a mess right now. We've got a staggering number of wars going on, a staggering number of conflicts. But it's not the big conflicts between the countries that are the big concern to me. I mean, they're annoying. But the bigger concern is the conflicts in the individual homes. Are you actually treating each other the way you desire to be treated? Are you finding a way to communicate what you're feeling, what the other person is feeling? Are you actively working together? You solve that problem, and the problem between countries will fade. Because most problems, what people end up seem to end up doing, is they distract themselves. Like if you're having troubles with money, unfortunately, this is what leads to alcoholism. It leads to drug addiction. You're having problems that you don't know how to deal with, so you try and escape. Well, the problem with alcoholism, of course, is alcohol doesn't actually solve the problem, and anybody that's come through that nightmare knows it doesn't solve the problem. What alcohol and drugs actually do is they knock out your trained and learned inhibitors, aka your coping mechanism. Now, I'm going to tell you wholeheartedly, you got to knock it off. If you're doing something in excess where it's damaging your lifestyle, it's damaging the way your life is going, it's time to cut it down. Okay. If everything's going tickety-boo according to you and according to the people around you who may well see things a little differently than you because they're not inside it, you may want to look at changing it. Now, I will tell you this. I did find a way, because I used to kill a 26er a night myself, and I just quit counting lines at 6. But I found a way that other people can utilize to get away from the alcohol, to get away from the drugs, it does require effort. It is not an overnight thing. But it is a way that kills off a lot. Now, this is only one tool. Use it in tandem with whatever else you're working on, whether it's doctors and medication, whether it's whether it's a guided program, whatever. This is simply another tool to use in tandem with it. Okay, but I did find a way of doing it where you don't suffer withdrawals. Currently, like I said, I used to drink a 26er a night. I currently drink 1, maybe 2 drinks a year, and usually that's at New Year's. Okay, maybe something else in the middle of it, but the reality is it's not a 26er. I can sit down, somebody can be having alcohol, and I'll ignore it. I'll still drink coffee or water or whatever I'm choosing to drink at the time. Okay, but every tool I offer people is a tool. If it applies to me, I'm using it. If it doesn't apply to me, I've got over 80,000 clients under my belt, business and personal, okay, that I have dealt with, and their feedback has made it very clear that the tools that I'm offering them, like for instance, I've shown people how to quit smoking. I never started. Okay, at least not normal cigarettes. But I've helped enough people that no longer smoke. And no, I'm not going to give anybody names. Okay. And I do my best not to give people directions as to even the type of person it was that I got the information from or that verified it. So don't even ask. But what has happened is these people have come back and said, I no longer have to smoke. It's great. Or I'm no longer drinking. I've been sober for X, I haven't touched a drop for so long, without replacing it with another addiction. Okay. Like, I can go about my life. I don't have to go to any specific meetings. I don't have to go to any specific counseling anymore. Haven't had to in decades. Okay, but then I found a way that I could quit drinking that worked, and it has worked for other people. It takes time. It takes purpose, plan, persistence, and patience. Okay. But it can be done, and that's the important factor. Now, with that in mind, we are going to bring this to a close, and I'm going to get on with my day. In the meantime, I will be back tomorrow, but until we talk again, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.